Alright guys, got another short video for you today on the Glock. Today we're going to be changing the ejector on my Glock 34 here. And the reason being is we're switching to 40 caliber. So I'm going to be putting the new upper on there and shooting major for USPSA. So anyways, I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm going to be changing here before we get into it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the ejector is this piece right here. It sits into the trigger housing. And what this does is that when the brass comes back out of the chamber, the brass will hit this and it angles it out, throws it out of the gun pretty much. Now, the reason I'm having to switch is because this is a 9mm one, and you can see it's curved, and the 40 one is straight. And if you try to shoot 40 with a 9mm one, there's a possibility of having the ejector, if you're ejecting a live round or something like that, hit the primer, or it can just, cause feeding issues, reliability issues. So, we're going to be switching this out today. It's kind of interesting whenever I've already switched it once. I'm switching back to the 40 now. When I first did it, you really wasn't much information out there on switching just the ejector. Most people just buy a different housing, which is probably what I'd recommend now that I've done this a couple times. It's a lot easier just to take the housing and switch it, and it's only like 20 bucks for a new housing. So anyways, I'm going to show you guys how to change the actual ejector. So I got to get this out right here, and then we'll go from there. Just give me 1 second. Alright, so now we got the trigger housing out here, and as you can see, you can get a better look at the ejector and how it fits into the housing. The back of it is actually that little silver camera to focus here. That spot right there. And you can leave the connector and the trigger spring in there. It's not going to really get in the way. But really the best way to knock these things out is you're going to want something like a flathead screwdriver like this. Something real small. And you're going to want to take and you're going to want to knock it out from the back right here. And it just needs to be something that will fit in that slot. And it'll start pushing it out the front. Now some people will say, you might read on forums and stuff like that, to use pliers, stuff like that. And you really want to avoid that if at all possible. And if you do, use something like this that doesn't have much grip on it, something that's not going to scar the ejector up. And you can always wrap it in electrical tape or something like that. That'll help pull it on out. But usually what I do is I just knock it out from the back and I pull it the rest of the way out using my my hand if I can. So the best way to set this thing up, since I don't have a vise here, actually what I've done before is just take the trigger housing right here like this. It's the ejector. And you're going to lay it flat on the edge of a table. So it would be like this. So when it's on the table, it would be laying like this. You're going to tape it down or something like that. I usually just use electrical tape to hold it in place. And that way the ejector's hanging off the edge of the table. And you can just tap it on out. And it'll hold it in place for you. Plus that surface there, it's flat. So, you can see that's pretty much how I do it right there like that. So, and the ejector's hanging off the side there. Knock it out. And then we'll be putting the new one in. So, I'm going to go ahead and knock it out a little bit. And I'll show you guys, as I get it out, what it looks like. So, give me just one more second and we'll be finished up here soon. Okay, so here you can see I've already got it pushed out a little bit, and you can see earlier it was flush. This is where it inserts. So it was flush here, and you can see it's down there. I pushed it down there a little bit, so it's kind of getting started. From here on out, you can use like a punch, like this, something like that, as long as it fits down in there. This one's a little tight actually, so you're going on something like I said, something small punch or anything flat like this, and you can stick it in there, and you can just tap it out, with a hammer. And push it on out. And you really don't have to tape it that hard. You're just trying to keep it from moving side to side, and it will want to kick up like this. So you can pretty much hold it and do like that. But you can see there's the gap I've already created. So I'm gonna go ahead and drive on out here, and we'll show you guys what that looks like. Alright, so as you can see, we got it driven on out here, and pretty much at this point you can just take your fingers and grab it. If you can't grab it with your fingers, you can always use some wrapped pliers like I was talking about earlier. And just take it, grab it, kind of work it out. You want to be careful not to bend it, so try not to be too rigorous with it here. And there it is. So they're in there pretty good. It's just a press fit, and probably not something you want to be changing a whole lot, because obviously you don't want to stress the polymer and make it where you can't keep an injector in there. So then you're just going to take the new one here, and it goes in the slot right here in the front from where the other one was coming out. And you just get that lined up right there. And now, what you're going to do is just push it as far as you can. You pretty much can push it almost all the way in with your fingers. Then you're going to take like a rubber mallet. And what I like to do is use the edge of the table again and set the ejector, this part of the ejector, on the table. And just kind of tap on the back of the housing. And that gets it almost all the way in there. Just a second. Alright, so I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to put it in there backwards. I wasn't even looking. So yeah, you want to also have the ejector facing the right way, like this. And so the connector's on this side. There's the orientation for you guys. But anyways, like I was saying, put that on the edge of the table, and just give it, just tap the back of the housing. You don't have to hit it too hard. Just give it a few taps, and then there's still a little bit of a gap there. So I can get the camera to focus here. Well, so there's a little bit of gap there. You don't want there to be any gap between the plastic of the housing and the ejector there. So you just want to make sure that's all the way seated. So that's as far as it's going to go. And now this one it doesn't come all the way out to the back of the housing like the factory one does. This is actually a Lone Wolf ejector, and this is a Glock factory ejector. So now all we gotta do is just put this bad boy back into the frame here, and be ready to shoot 40. So that's how you change the ejector. It's pretty straightforward. As far as securing the housing, like I was talking about earlier, you can use a vise. Just be careful, because if you over tighten it, you don't want to warp or scar the sides of the housing, things like that. So the way I do it's pretty easy, and it's cheap and quick. So I actually like not using a vise. So that's how I've been doing it, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. So hope you enjoy the quick tutorial, and stay tuned for more. Don't forget to hit subscribe and check us out on gunchannels.com, and listen to our Young Guns podcast every Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Take care, guys.